AI, asset flips, scam games, GoFundMe promises falling short. So much has happened in the past decade and a half with the evolution of the indie scene. As game engines have become more and more powerful and put into the hands of the common gamer with ease of use in mind, many games have not only stood up to AAA titles that were released at the same time, but they have outsold and outconquered them as well. And Peak was about to be one of those. However, with only the written word, they very well may have doomed this once incredible game's legacy to a story of falling from grace, carrying the company's name with it. This game has peaked.
Well, that's a little intro that I'm going to be working on for, I'll be making a full video out of this later. But I figured I would have to, well, this is unfortunate. This is too bad. This was a game that it started off slow. No, it went running. I mean, they sold Steam launch, immediate success. And let's look at this. They had over 1 million copies sold in just 6 days. Viral phenomenon. Now, we're going to keep that in the back of our mind because this is the perfect example of when indie studios turn. I mean, they're trying. I would accept this if it was Ubisoft. I would accept this if it was EA. Their new terms of service. No, it's not even terms of service. It's their end user license agreement. Um, and as of right now, 48 hours. If you look at, keep this in mind. We're gonna do. We can't even get to 6 months. It's not even 6 months old. Look at the downhill. How it's going down, 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 down. Now, keeping a game alive is tough. I understand that. But we need to understand the players and the players' rights, I should say. Because they certainly do. And it's kind of a mockery if you ask me, or that's just the way it feels. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I just play video games and I read terms of service. So this is how I interpret it, which is pretty straightforward. And everybody yesterday, right here, got this notification. Son of a baby. Here, let's blow this up. Everyone got this notification yesterday. Now let's click on it. Now, pay very close attention. Hello, Scouts. First off, thank you for playing Peak. Yeah, thank you for giving us money. We know you're all waiting for news about the update, and it's coming sooner than you think. Well, that's great, because for me personally, I'm not going to be able to play it because I don't accept these terms of service at all. As you may have noticed, we just added a new EULA or EULA to the game, which is linked on our Steam page. You should also get a pop-up to agree when you open the game. Well, that's new. We've added this EULA to better clarify our rights as developers and publishers. And look at right here in bold, your rights as a player. They make that sound good, don't they? They want you to understand what your rights are. It's lengthy, but legally important for us to have. Now, why would that be? Why would that be? As always, please feel free to contact us at wherever. I'm not going to say that because, well, we'll see. We'll go further in. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer. I just play video games. Now, they talk about, we love the modding community and have made sure that, oh, I'm sure they do. Oh, I'm sure they do. Oh, God. You guys, this is a poo-poo show and a half. It really is. Complete disappointment. God, what the hell's going on here? We love the modding community and have made sure that modding is allowed while also ensuring we have recourse if someone mods the game in a way that harms other players or disrupts access to the game, which is good. That I can understand. But just wait. Oh, it gets good. So we click on the EULA and it brings this up. Now, what we have here is your typical end user license agreement. I want you to look at this and how much money do you think this game pulled in? Probably millions. Obviously millions. Now, right here, we're going to start off with oh, these lovely bastards. I made some notes here. Now, this is, if this was Ubisoft, I could accept that. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. And if this was the terms of service when they first put the game out, I wouldn't have bought it. I'm just going to start with that. Not many people would, actually. And everybody should be very upset at this point. In fact, if you already clicked the end user license agreement and you played, there's still hope. You can appeal it at some point. I'm not too sure how. We'll find out where we go about that. Now, we're going to start off with section... Oh, yeah. 3. And that basically states, we can revoke or change access at any time without notice or refund. And that's in sections 3, 6, 13, and 32. They state it and restate it. Now, that basically means your license or the game can be terminated, deleted, gone, revoked, altered at their discretion at any point in time for any reason whatsoever. Meaning you lose access to it even though you paid for it. That's anti-consumer, for one. Completely anti-consumer. That's zero protection for us. But we'll get into that. Section 8 is going to cover all fees payable in advance are not refundable, in whole or in part. They owe you nothing. They might see something that they don't like and they can just get rid of it. Or say you bother somebody that they know. They can just get rid of it. And it actually does state that in the terms of service, and we're going to get into that. Section 1819 is where it gets pretty interesting, though. That's the ownership of the intellectual property and branding, and no AI usage. And you might wonder why that's important. Well, depending on if you're streaming on a certain platform, you you could be breaking their terms of service, because a lot of places actually use your videos or your streams that you upload to train their AI or to train some AI. 2526 means you can't host servers, emulators, or unofficial instances. All play must occur on official or approved platforms, and we're going to go into why that's important, because that's going to go back into this, and I kind of see something coming down the hill, literally coming down the peak, if you would. Now, you grant them, when you accept this agreement, you basically tell them your feedback, your ideas, their royalty-free rights to them. So you come up with a great idea, they don't have to give you any credit, they don't have to pay you, whatever. But that also, that's with the mods too. You own the mods, they say that, but they can use them for whatever the heck they want. They can make a whole nother game out of it. They can make Peak 2 out of your mods. That's a slap in the modding community's face. It's actually a slap in anyone's face, especially considering that right here, where are we? Let's go back to Peak. Oop. Remember what they said right here? They love the modding community. They absolutely love the modding community. And they want you to know your rights. You really don't have any. And they want you to know it. Let's get into it. We're going to go start off with Section 3. I've been fuming all night, and you saw a little intro that's going to be part of the video that I make, and it'll break a lot of this down. Access to the game. To access and play the game, you must register an account with the platform service provider, blah, 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 blah. Could be Google, could be PC. They give a whole bunch of them. And then, unless the game is expressly provided in a form and venue where an account is not required, cool. You may allow others to enable access to your account, but it is always under your sole responsibility. Publishers shall in no case and under any circumstance not be responsible for any loss, prejudice, access to your account, whether it is done by you intentional or through your negligence or inaction. Oh, that's a nice way of wording it. Right here, though, is where it gets fun. The publishers reserve the right to disable block accounts without notice. You are not permitted to transfer your account, any in-game currency, characters, etc., to any person that is specifically permitted in writing and by publishers. Further, you must be 13 years old or older to be entitled to access to play the game. You have to be 13 to play their game. Now, that's not a big deal. We're going to be getting more into Section 6. The publishers reserve the right to add, modify, delete, cancel the game, including your access to the game at any time. The publishers make no representation or warranty as to the completeness or accuracy of the game, nor do them represent or warrant the game will be available at all times or any time. The game may be incomplete, may contain errors, etc. The publishers make no commitment and expressly disclaim any duty to fix the errors or lack of functionality in the game. This game, they can make it broken tomorrow. And nothing you can do about it. Isn't that nice? Isn't that cool? Now we're going to go down to 13 because it restates this quite a few times. They really drill it in. Termination. Here we go. This is the fun one. This is the one that really made it fun. This is termination. So you buy a game, and in the terms of service, they tell you this end user license agreement is effective until amended by the publishers in their sole discretion. The publishers may change, suspend, or discontinue all or any aspect of the game at any time for any reason without prior notice or liability, including without limitation the availability of the game or any feature. The publishers may cease to provide the game or, get this, or any or all of the product services offered in connection with the games. Terminate the end user license agreement and cancel all the rights granted to you under the end user license agreement at any time for any reason without prior notice or liability. Basically, you could wake up tomorrow and they just, you don't have the game no more. Why would they put that in there? We'll get into that. The publishers may, but is not obligated to. They might, they might communicate such termination to you in any of the following manners. 1. Notice the game via electronic mail. In this end user license agreement, meaning this thing right here, they might just pop up another EULA and say, hey, by the way, the game's gone. Wouldn't that be fun? In any other manner that the publishers deem suitable to inform you of the termination. If the publishers terminate the game, you will not receive a refund of paid fees. In the event of any termination, here under sections 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34 of this end user license agreement will survive termination. And 34 of this end user license agreement will survive termination. Now, what does that mean? Let's just jump down to 34. Boop. Disclosure. The game and related products and services hereunder are offered by Landfall Publishing with registered blah, 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 blah. So basically, hey, look, this is still ours and you just don't have it no more. Cool. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Fun. Where were we? We were at 13. This is delivery of products, links to games. I believe we were at 13 because it doesn't stop there. This is just the beginning, folks. This is completely anti-consumer, 100%. Now, keep in mind, if you haven't played the game yet, and you've, as of yesterday, and you haven't accepted the agreement, you, technically, I don't believe we are bound by this at all. Now, I can't play the game, but you say, well, hey, what if I want it? No, hold on. Because I can kind of see something coming down the line here. Now, they use servers in this game, their servers, in order for you to connect. And they've stated on a couple different occasions that these servers cost money, and it wouldn't be fair to them that, we'll get into that. That, you know what I mean? They have to keep paying money for a game that you purchased. We were at 13, I believe. And then there's 32. So 13, disclaimers. Now, in section, we got to go down to 32, but there is on our way down, we're going to jump around a little bit. 19. This is the fun one. This one, prohibited use. Now, in 19.4, this is an interesting one. You agree to abide by all applicable laws, regulations when playing the game. Your continued access to the game and right to play the game is subject to proper conduct. What is proper conduct? Without limiting the publisher's right to control the game's environment and the conduct of the end user license or the end users within the environment. The publishers prohibit the following practices that the publishers have determined detract from overall user experience and you are strictly prohibited from. Ready? Disrespecting the rights of other players and their rights to play and enjoy the game. You may not defraud, harass, or threaten any other players. That's great, but there's a period here. That's not a comma. So if a player feels disrespected or that you disrespected their right to enjoy the game, they can terminate. They can delete your game. You can wake up and you will not have access. Wow. Well, that's cool. What does that mean? Maybe, hey, the dude didn't grab the rope and he yelled at me. Or maybe you screwed up and you want to blame it on somebody else. Well, I mean, that didn't bring me enjoyment to the game. Goodbye, game. When naming character team, yeah, okay. This is typical whatever. We're on our way down to, I believe it was 32, correct? Let's go down to 32. We're still in 23. Oh, there's tons of this stuff. Modification. The publishers reserve the right, at its discretion, to update or revise the end-user license agreement at any time. The publishers will post such changes in the game, excuse me. The publishers will post such changes in the game and or forms, etc., related to the game. And these additional or revised terms become part of this end-user license agreement. So they'll post whatever here. They can change this at any time. Please check the EULA document periodically for changes. That means tomorrow they might say, hey, if you were playing a certain mod between this time and this time, I mean, they could put anything they want in it, but they're not going to notify you because you have to check back the EULA and go through all this crap in order to find out what the heck is going on. Oh, isn't that wonderful? It's like a game within a game, including any changes or modifications by the publishers as permitted above. Now notice how this is at the bottom. Above. Yay. Let's go back up. So they can delete the game at any time. If you tick people off, they can delete your game. If you like to mod, any mod you make is there. It's yours. I'm sorry. The mod is yours, but they don't have to give you credit for it. They can take your work and put it in to a game. They can make another game out of it and charge people money for it, and you still will get zero credit for it. But don't worry. The mod is yours. That's cool. That's awesome. Hooray. Now keep in mind, this is a legally binding agreement. There's really... They're basically not liable for anything, and the maximum damages are limited to what we pay for the game, which is underneath 14 and 15. So the game is provided by the publishers on an as-is basis. This is typical. for EULAs, which, yeah, that's fine. Limited warranties. However, without limiting or foregoing, the publishers make no representation or warrant of any kind, express implied, as to the game, the information, content, materials, etc., included therein, that the game will be functioning continuously. Now, without limiting the foregoing, the publishers make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, 1. As the game, information, content, materials, etc. included therein. 2. That the game will be functioning continuously. Now, that could mean an update. That could also mean, like, hey, once again, they're telling you they can shut it down. Now, why would they be saying this so many times? Uninterrupted, securely or error-free. This is kind of scary because if something happens to your account, again, they said it's through your negligence. This is just what I'm gathering from it, by the way. As to the accuracy, reliability, or currency of any information, content, products, and services provided, or 4. That the game servers, platforms, or emails sent from or on behalf of the publishers are free of viruses, scripts, Trojan horses, worms, or other harmful components. I'm just skipping over it. Like, hey, look, we get some bad stuff, send it to you. The publishers do not control and are not responsible for what users post, transmit, and share in the game. That's typical for most games. That's fine. Offensive or inappropriate or obscene, unlawful, or otherwise objectionable content. So if something bad does happen, it's just not their fault at all. It's your fault, but it's not theirs. Because these are your rights. They want you to really understand your rights. Remember that. They said that. They said that right here, and they even put it in bold. Your rights as a player. We've added this EULA to better clarify our rights as developers and publishers and your rights as a player. Isn't that, look at that. That's just like a spit in the face. Now, right here, any third-party application, software, content, they're talking about mods and whatnot. The publishers are not responsible for the conduct. I mean, I'm sure if it ticks them off, they're talking about the time between they delete somebody's game, I'm sure. I could be wrong, but again, why would they put all this stuff in there? Whether online or offline, or any player of the game. The operation and functionality of the game may be interfered with by numerous factors outside the control of the publishers. See, this stuff is fine. And to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, under no circumstances shall the publishers, their parents, affiliates, licensees, licensors, partners, and or platform service providers, collectively the publishers, for purposes of Section 14 and the following Section 15, be liable for any damages that result from the use or inability to use or play the game, including but not limited to the reliance by you on any information obtained from the game, otherwise from the publishers, that result from mistakes, omissions, interruptions, deletion of files, emails, blogs, chats, errors, defects, viruses, delays in operation or transmission, or any failure of performance, whether or not resulting from acts of God, communication. See, this stuff's typical. But then we get down to, I believe it's the special. Yeah, so they're basically saying if somebody does something illegal or something bad happens, they're not liable. There's so many, that part's fine. It's the part that they say we can delete all your stuff, and if they just so happen, I mean, this could probably include if they take a mod from somebody and it has, oh, I don't know, a Trojan horse in it, then, I mean, they're not liable. Even though they took somebody else's mod, it's still their mod. I think that's why they say it's still their mod. But they're just going to use it and resell it without limiting foregoing to the maximum extent permissible by applicable law. You expressly agree that the publishers shall have no liability whatsoever for the performance of the game or any products and or services you have purchased or used in connection with the game. Now, we're going to look at 18 and 19 as well, because that talks about the total ownership of IP and branding, no derivative works, and no AI usage. And that's the full rights over all related content. Now there's the seizure warning, trademarks. That's typical stuff. But here's the intellectual property. You acknowledge and agree that all content, design elements, and materials available in the game, for example, graphics, logos, designs, characters, objects, environments, worlds, icons, scripts, and service names for the publisher's content are owned by the publisher and or its partners and licensors and protected by copyrights, trademarks, patents, trade secrets, and other proprietary rights of the publisher and or its partners and licensors. The publishers and its partners and licensors retain all right, title, and interest in the publisher's content. You may not use, copy, reproduce, modify, republish, upload, transmit, or redistribute any of the publisher's content in any form for any means unless expressly permitted in this agreement. Please see section 21. We'll get down to there. The publisher's trademark and trade dress may not be used, including as part of the trademark and or part of the domain names, in connection with any product or service in any manner that is likely to cause confusion and may not be copied, imitated, or used in whole or in part without prior written. You need to have it in writing if you're going to go ahead and you're going to use their characters. I don't know if that means fan-based, like fan lore. Probably not, but I think they're kind of putting that there because if you put it into AI, they lose everything. You may not sell, license, rent, perform, display creative derivative works from, train with, here we go, yep, this is it. Give any data or AI or to any AI or in any way use or exploit publisher's content in any way unless expressly permitted in the agreement. Please see section 21. You agree not to disassemble, decompile, this is standard, the content. But right here with the AI, that's important because there are a lot of streaming services out there that train their AI off of your streams. So if you're streaming, hey, welcome. If you're streaming and you're on your way to I don't know, 35, 40 people on your stream, and that algorithm is really picking it up, and it's like, all right, cool, let's train off this. You can't trade, or you can't train it. But because you agreed to it, and what we read back here, guess who's liable? You are. And I guarantee you, all these other places that you're streaming to, whether it be Twitch or whatever, what do you think their end-user license agreement says? They're not liable. The only one that's liable is you through what? Because we read it before. And it's, quote, I believe they said negligence. Through your negligence or inaction. There we go. Through your negligence. Yes, they actually put that in there. Isn't that cool? And then they will probably delete your game because they've stated on 4 different occasions that they can delete your game for any reason whatsoever. And not give you any money back. Not only that, but we haven't even gotten down to the servers or third party. Here's the prohibited use once again, which in section 4, use of third party software, uh, disrespecting the rights of others and their rights to play and enjoy the game. Prohibited use. You agree to obey. So right here, you are strictly prohibited from section 4, disrespecting the rights of others and their rights to play and enjoy the game. Somebody's not enjoying the game because of you. Well, it's part of the prohibited use, and what can they do? They can delete your game. That's a reason. This stuff's typical. You can't, nothing that will break the law. That's typical. But this other stuff is just total corpo crap. It's unbelievable. Now in section 25 and 26, because they can shut down the game at any time. Where is 20? There's 20. We're bouncing all around here. I'm trying to go in order the best I can, but as you can see, this goes back and forth quite a bit. Oh, this is the part where they basically say if you have a dispute, you can't join a class action lawsuit, and you can't sue them. You can go through arbitration though, which if you don't know what arbitration is, it doesn't work out in your favor. That's terrible. Arbitration kind of sucks. We'll get to that after, though, because right now we're going down to user disputes. You are solely responsible for your interactions with other users of the game. That goes back to disrupting players, because you are solely responsible for your interactions. Well, how do I know what? Everybody's different. So if I say something, if I say, hey man, I like pink butterflies, they might be like, I am so offended. I like yellow butterflies. And I dress up as a butterfly every other day. I identify as a butterfly. Yeah. That could hurt your enjoyment of the game. And, well, you are solely responsible for your interactions with other users of the game. The publishers reserve the right, but have no obligation to monitor disputes between you and others and other users. So, how would they do that? How do you think they would do that? Maybe jump into the game. Could be that they're on the Discord. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they had everybody go on Discord. That's a very, very good thing. But here's 26 with arbitration. If you are located within the United States of America, the following applies to you. Any claim, excluding claims for injunctive or other equitable relief, where the total amount of the award sought by either party is less than $10,000, shall be resolved via binding non-appearance based arbitration. Now, that could be probably through Zoom or something. I don't know. It would be up to them. Initiated through the American Arbitration Association, AAA. Hey, I'm a AAA member. AAA rules are available at, and we're not going to get into that, but I would highly recommend you go in and check out adr.org just so you can see what you're getting into. Or by calling AAA at 1-800. I'm not going to say it because that would be advertising, and again, they don't have to give me any credit whatsoever for anything that I do, and any ideas that I have for the game, they don't have to pay me a thing. Heck, they don't even have to give me credit. We already read that part. The parties in AAA must comply with the following rules. 1. Arbitration shall be conducted by telephone. There we go. online or be solely based on written submissions. Okay, so it is exactly that. The specific manner shall be chosen by the party initiating the arbitration. The arbitration shall not involve any personal appearance by the parties or witnesses, unless otherwise mutually agreed by the party. The arbitrator may award injunctive or declaratory relief only in favor of the individual party seeking relief, and or the extent necessary to provide the relief warranted by the party's individual claim. What does that mean? Heck if I know with that one. But any judgment on the awarded rendered by the arbitration may be entered in any court competent jurisdiction. Nothing in this agreement shall prevent either party from seeking remedies or small claims court compensation jurisdiction. Nothing in this agreement shall prevent either party from seeking remedies in small claims court or great. But that doesn't really help us out with a class action lawsuit, now does it? Because right here, here's your class action waiver. Say something terrible happens to everybody's game, or something does slip by and it destroys everyone's computer. You agree that any claim subject to arbitration under Section 26 must be made in your individual capacity and not as a plaintiff or a class member in any purported class or representative proceeding. So that one, why would they say that? Because class action lawsuits are millions and millions and millions of dollars sometimes. Because it takes everybody and it adds it up. It's like, well, you know, you might be $10,000, but these guys did so much damage that we're going to have to... It's ridiculous. Like, they can't get away with it. So we're going to lump everybody in, and then whoever the lawyers are, they'll take a cut. But either way, it's going to be a whole bunch, because right here they even said less than $10,000. So what about anything over? Claims. You and the publishers agree that any cause of, action arising out of or for related to, oh my God, I can't read today. You and the publishers agree, oh, you know what? Why don't I do this? There we go. Action rising out or related to the end user license agreement must commence within 1 year after the cause of action occurs. Otherwise, such cause of action is permanently barred unless otherwise required by mandatory law of any jurisdiction. Isn't that fun? You're waiving your rights. And it's funny too, because they even said it right here. And they put it right in bold. Your rights as a player. We've added this EULA to better clarify our rights as developers and publishers and your rights as a player. They make it sound good, but what they're really saying is we want to make sure that you know you don't have any rights. We want to make sure that you know any problem that you have, well, that's your problem. And any problem that we have, well, that's your problem. That's what I've read. That's what I've gathered from this. And I mean, you've read the same thing that I have. And we're reading it word for word. Now, we basically grant them unlimited royalty-free rights to use our feedback and ideas. That's, I believe, Section 20? Communication and feedback. The publishers may from time to time contact you by any appropriate information channel to keep you up to date with news. And for example, news about, for example, the game, news products and services, updates, campaigns, promotions, faults, issues relating to technical aspects and or usability of the game, payment methods, etc. I don't think that really applies, but who knows what's coming down the line. The publishers may occasionally ask you to provide information on your experience of playing games, which will be used to improve the quality and provisions of the game. You are not required to provide any ideas. Okay, that's cool. Collective feedback. Feedback or suggestions, collectively feedback to the publishers. And all information which is submitted by you is submitted voluntarily. Why did they say that? Well, to the extent you do not provide any feedback to the publishers. Okay. You agree to assign and hereby do assign and or exclusively license all right, title, and interest and such feedback to the publishers, and acknowledge that the publishers may freely use, reproduce, modify, distribute, make, have made, sell, offer for sale, import, and otherwise exploit, yes, they use the word exploit, in any manner such feedback without payment of any royalties and consideration to you. And that also includes mods. Yeah. The mods are yours, though. You can make mods, but if they like them, they're going to take them and they're going to use them. Because right down here, we have user-created content, modding, and intellectual property. Like, this whole thing is just, it's peppered with splintered wooden stick and no slippery lube. Now, pick one, you know? By using this game, materials, tools, and or software related to the game, you may create certain content. Notice how they said certain. Such as playable levels, in-game items, stories, forum posts, usernames, modification, and or related content, user-created content, except for the publisher's content contained therein. Any intellectual property right and title to such user-created content will remain with, and where applicable, will become your intellectual property, created and submitted by you for use in the game. User intellectual property. Now, that sounds good, but we're not done yet. Because this is the publisher's license to user intellectual property. By creating, submitting, publishing, uploading, and or publishing any user-created content, or in connection with the game and or related websites, you agree that the publishers will be given a sub-license, a sub-licensable, assignable, worldwide, royalty-free license and right to distribute, broadcast, reproduce, they can reproduce your mod, publicly perform, display, and promote your user content and any user intellectual property contained therein, in relation to and for the purpose of providing, exploiting, or using in the game and any sequels and any and all media now known and hereafter devised. So anything that they already know they're going to make, or anything they already have, and stuff that they know they're going to make, and they might see something that they like of yours, and they just decide to make a game with it. But it's your intellectual property. You just don't get paid for it, and they don't have to tell anybody that it's yours. Yeah. Like they said right here, we love the modding community. Sure you do. It's free stuff for you. Guidelines for user-created content. User-created content must comply with all applicable laws and guidelines, terms, conditions stated in the User License Agreement, EULA, and requirements as may be notified to you by the publishers from time to time, and must not contain any content including by way, example, and not limitation, language, sounds, images, basically copyrighted stuff, or SE, reproductively explicit, harmful, threatening, harassing, abusive, defamatory, obscene, vulgar, hateful, or racially or ethnically charged, depicting or promoting intoxication or substance abuse, depicting or promoting negative racial, ethnic, gender stereotypes, yada 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 yada. Disrespectful of religious symbolism, reflecting adversely on the name, reputation, or goodwill of the publishers, their parents. You can't slander them, not slander, you can't make fun of them, basically. You can't make fun of, you got to keep it clean. Even though it's your content, and you're making it for their game, but if they don't like it, that's what that's saying. We don't like it, it doesn't fly. Protection of third-party rights. You will be fully responsible for your user-created content. Now, user-created content, I believe, still falls underneath the mods, but they could be talking about streaming. Represent that any content you post. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what they're talking about. Upload, publish, etc. So stream throughout the game or in connection with the game or any related websites. That's exactly what they're talking about. Does not infringe any third-party intellectual property rights or the rights under applicable laws, including such rights as privacy rights. It is your responsibility to make sure that no copyright protected, again, it's back to we're not responsible for anything, you're responsible for everything. This is kind of, you see this a lot. That's not too big of a deal. It's up here that's the BS. They can take it. They can do what they want with it. It's theirs. No, it's not theirs. It's yours. They just make money off it and they don't have to give you credit for it. If they don't want to. And if it's so good, maybe they might want to, I don't know, make a whole nother game out of it. So you own the mod content, but they get a perpetual worldwide royalty-free license to use it. And they can remove or restrict your content at will, anytime they want to. And you're fully liable for any infringement. And you indemnify, what's the word I'm looking for the mistakes. Anyways, they can delete and ban without appeal. They can just be like, boop, gone. And they retain deleted content indefinitely. So they can basically delete it, hold on to it, and then use it later on down the road. You know, they might decide that, hey, it's not as bad as we thought it was, but you know, it's been a couple years. Isn't that's fun. Excuse me. That was the DMCA stuff. Now, you need to contact them too in section 24 before any legal claim. So if there is a legal claim, you got to contact them first. You can't contact a lawyer or anything like that. Our goal is to resolve disputes, so we've been through that. Yeah. If you and the publisher cannot agree on a solution to the dispute within 60 days of receiving such notice, either party, because it goes through they want to go through the arbitration process. So again, that just basically cuts you out of lawyers and all that other fun stuff. So no class actions. You only have a year before it's void. That's not fun. And they can update uh, the end user license agreement at any time that they want. You got to check back. It's on you to go back and say, hey, did they update the end user license agreement today? I'm not positive. They very well might. Now, as for deleting the game at any time, for any reason whatsoever, I believe there is a reason for that. And the reason is something that I don't like. I mean, you're in 25 and 26. Where was it? God, my dog's going nuts down there. We had a morning walk. That was fun. Little crazy guys going after all the geese. It's like one of these days, man, that thing's going to go right for you. 25 and 26. Oh, I believe this is part. Let's go back up here. Oh, there we go. 19. See, they don't even put those in bold. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. But yeah, for let's see here. Server. Where did I see that? Developer comment. Discussion to revoke a product. Passionate issue. Reasons. Yes. Worst case scenario. Here we go. It cost money to run this game. Okay. In a worst case scenario where our studio were to financially face hardship, it may be necessary to one day shut down the game's servers. Oh, crap. So it's live service? You have to connect to it? Well, it's an unpleasant thing to think about. It's not just realistic for us to agree to run a game for all eternity. Well, just make it peer-to-peer, guys. I mean, that's very simple. Hell, then you can have a server list. Just, instead of running a server, just have people connect and then it makes a list. I mean, that would be, oh, but then they can't monitor and all that other stuff. The possibility scenario exists where we take issue with the financial or moral behavior of a platform we sell the game on, and we wish to stop selling it there. So they might not like Steam for whatever reason, and they want to stop selling it on Steam because the way many of these game platforms inherently operate, it may be impossible in this scenario to pull the game from a platform while guaranteeing that everyone who previously bought the game retains access to it. For reasons beyond our control, again, this is an unlikely worst-case scenario, okay? But it's one that's important to account for and retain the legal ability to do this if we deem it absolutely necessary. Argo Crab landfill games understand the importance of players retaining access to the game they paid for. Is it though? Because I mean, everything else is telling me otherwise, guys. Hopefully, this helps explain why the ability to revoke that access can sometimes be important or unavoidable. In the unlikely event of mass loss of access, such as a server shutdown, We will make every reasonable effort to provide a convenient portable version of the game that everyone can play without our studio's upkeep. Thank you for understanding. The publishers reserve the right to add, modify, delete, cancel the game, blah, 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 blah. So it was right up here. Where is the other one? Here we go, 26. You will not create, use, or provide any server emulator or any other site where the game may be played, and you will not post or distribute any utilities or emulator tools related to the game without express written permission of the publishers. For the avoidance of doubt, this does not affect or apply for you modifying or changing in-game assets, provisions, modifications. Basically, if their system goes down, if you one day cannot load up that game, you cannot make your own server so that you can play it. They could completely abandon it, and it has to stay abandoned. Now, they say it's unlikely. However, look at what happened when it started. They made millions off this. How much does it cost to run a server? And Steam and some of these Epic, when they host a game, they cover a lot of that. It's not something that you fully got to pay for. I mean, it might be using a lot more information, but again, or a lot more data. But have you seen peak? How much data can it really use up? And it's just going down, 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 down. So it's like, okay, the player count's not there. So why are we, because as of, here, let's refresh this. As of right now, there's 12,000 people on. On July 31st, there was 169,000. So it's gone gradually down. And they're milking it. Now right here, this is from one of the developers. While I do not agree whatsoever, actually, let's let the AI read it. Because, yeah, why not? Right? It doesn't have to do with the game. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. Okay, stop. If your studio were to face financial hardship, Steam Peak launch, immediate success, million milestone, access to 1 million copies sold in just 6 days. What? And then they had over 5 by or 4, it was either 3 or 4 by the end of the month at $7. How much does it cost to run a server? And if it's on Steam, Steam definitely supplies servers. The only reason why you would take it down is because it's a control thing for one, because everything that we've just read in this end user license agreement comes exactly to that. Why it's flat out control. It's something that you would expect right from, I don't know, EA. It's something you come to expect from Ubisoft. I mean, for God's sakes, you sit here in big bold letters. We want to make sure you understand your rights as a player. And then you read it and it is just a slap in the face. Like, if you do shut it down, you can't create any servers. You might shut down the game completely. And not only that, quiet enjoyment, non-infringement, third-party rights, that's not the one. Right here, prohibited use, you are strictly prohibited from disrespecting the rights of other players and their right to play and enjoy the game. Period. And then it says you may not defraud, harass. Oh, okay. But right here, if somebody's not enjoying the game, that's prohibited use. What? What? Hmm? Am I missing something? That's messed up. That is a power trip and a half. And then the whole AI thing, there's AI everywhere. What if people stream on, well, not Rumble, but Twitch? You don't think Twitch isn't looking at all the streams? It's AI and it's training off the streams? Of course it is. But that's a breach of the contract too. Literally everything they put in here is a breach of the contract. And for whatever reason, you can terminate. For any reason, termination. Right here, they can terminate it. And they owe you nothing. And then they turn around and they have the gall to say, we love the modding community. Yeah, okay. We've made sure that modding is allowed. Well, yeah, of course you would, because in it states that you can take those mods and not only use them for Peak, but anything. A follow-up game. And they don't have to give you credit. Because you give them a whole open, it's a royalty-free sub-license. You'd have to be crazy to agree to this. And this is basically a live service game. And the funny thing is, the same person that wrote this back, right here, let's go back to, good, yeah, it costs money to run this game. Worst case scenario where our studios, that's another thing too. If you're under 14, you can't play the game. Well, you need to have parental permission. But I mean, that I agree with. That's probably the only thing that I agree with. But right here, they say one thing, and then another abandoned game that just posts legal talk rather than work on updates. Game development took a few months, and they're too lazy to put out new content. Keep in mind, this is quite a few hours ago. This isn't old. They keep adding useless things. Oh, this isn't useless. Like this, and ask us to update and vote them at some stupid competition. Disappointed. And then it says, we have an update on the way. It's only been a month since the last one. Peak isn't a live service game. But right here they say Peak is a live service game. and it's from the same developer. So, which is it? Both 16 hours ago. Which is it? Either it doesn't have servers and they can, they absolutely can and have a version where they do a peer-to-peer connection, or they just don't want to and they shut it down. And why would they do that? Look at this. It's already going down. And then when it hits the fan and it is gone, you're SOL. Everything that we've read here, that they literally said, quite, well, not literally, but they definitely said in legal speak, your rights as a player, they want to make sure you understand your rights as a player. They want you to understand that you don't have rights as a player, that you've given them up. This was such a great game, and they destroyed it. Here's the beautiful thing about this, though. And if you do agree to the terms of service, they can change this end user license agreement at any time and not notify you. You have to come, they literally said you have to come back and you have to check up from time to time. Pretty sure that was a quote. And read all this again. So the people in the discussions that are like, oh, it's just blah, blah. No, it's not good. And that's how I know those people did not read the terms of service or the end user license agreement. You have no warranties. They can delete it for any reason whatsoever, including if you tick people off. Because again, disrespecting the rights of others and the right to play and enjoy the game, that one got me pretty good. And then they can delete it and they owe you nothing. And, going back to the whole modding thing, they love their modding community. Well, yeah, because if you make a mod, you grant them unlimited access to the mod and they don't have to give you credit for it. They just, bloop, that's mine now. No, it's not mine. I take that they did not say that. They said the mod's yours. They're just going to use it and not credit you. And they could make another game out of it if they wanted to, if it's like a total conversion. And they don't have to give you props. Now, why? And this is from an indie studio that, they knocked it out of the park, man. They knocked it out of the park. They really, where is it? To begin with. But again, it's starting to go down. They made millions, and now that it's not coming in anymore. So what do they do instead of paying for servers for 5, 10, 15 years? Look at No Man's Sky. You don't see this crap from Hello Games, and they're a small indie studio. This is full greed. They got lucky, and this really shows who they are as a company. And I don't know, from now on, nothing from Agrocrab or Agrocrab, Cragroab. Who the hell made this? Agrocrab game. Agro? And Landfall. Landfall made some awesome games. What happened? Money. Lots and lots and lots of money. And they got greedy. They don't want to spend that. No. They got their nut. Now they're going to bury it. And if you want to go ahead and you want to make your own, server so that you can play Peak, you can't. Because again, you agreed to that. You agreed that you cannot make your own server to keep the game alive. Legally. That's wrong. if now I didn't accept this terms of service. This is new. This is new as of yesterday, the 29th. I didn't accept this. If you go in and you start playing the game and you hit accept, obviously, and you can appeal. I don't know how long you have. Actually, let's look up appeal the decision. Terms of service. How many times does the EULA pop up? If you're located within the United States, yeah, this is just it's bad. Um, but you can there is a part. I mean, legally, I think they have to do that, but there's no private servers or feedback. Any ideas, bug reports, or creative suggestions that you give these guys, guess what? That becomes their property. Because you give them irrevocable worldwide royalty-free license to use it however they want. You get zero credit for or compensation, and that includes mod ideas or suggestions. And they can bake it into a paid product. User created content. Now the takedown notices and stuff like that, that's typical, that's fine, but it's the stuff that they really there's no refunds, they can delete it at any time, no private servers, no class action. They have total content control completely. They could take it down like if they see a stream that they don't like, or if you're streaming on a platform that uses AI, like you're in trouble. Why? I mean, we just read all that. Why would we? Why would I accept this terms of service? So I can play it like this. It's unfortunate because they made an awesome game. They really did. And then they destroyed it with words, with writing. Sections 3, 6, 13, 32. We can revoke or change access at any time without notice or refund. Section 8 said all fees are payable in advance and are not refundable in whole or in part. Total ownership of IP branding, so no derivative works, no AI usage, full rights over all related content. Basically locks the player out of creative freedom beyond our control. So no fair use leeway. So if you're a creator, you can't, like I said, can't host servers or emulators or unofficial instances of them. You know, all play has to go on their servers, and if they shut down their servers, because again, it's just they killed it. They killed Peak. It's already going down. I mean, I think this is the nail in the coffin here. And there'll be people that do play it, but there's not going to be enough there for them to keep up updates. They're going to use this as an excuse. And then they get to keep all this extra money because they're not going to put it back into servers. And they're right here, you know. They talk about how it's a live service game and it takes money, costs money to run this game for the servers, and then right here, literally the same developer. We have an update on its way. It's only been a month since the last one. Peak isn't a live service game. All updates are bonuses. Oh, isn't that nice? It's companies like this that kill gaming. Um, but because of this, I will never trust Landfall. I will never trust Aggro Crab. anything with that developer's name attached to it, you know, like what is a live service game? Video game designed to be continuously updated after its initial release with ongoing content. I mean, that's what it is. It's uh, uh, I mean, I suppose they could change it into randomized, randomly generated. I don't think they're making levels every single day and uploading them. Um, does live service games have servers? Yeah, absolutely rely on servers. Boom. So, it is what it is. Just, I didn't accept the terms of service, and I'm not going to come back and check every other day and read through all this to see what they did and didn't change. Because this is just, look at this. It's wrong. What they're doing is wrong, you know? And the way that they worded it, it's almost like a slap in the face. This is what they think of you. At least that's how I feel. Shit, man. Does that mean they can be banned from their game? Because now I feel as though this killed the enjoyment of the game. You know? This is fucking hilarious. Disrespecting the rights of others and their rights to play and enjoy the game. I'm not enjoying the game. You broke the terms of service, or you broke the end user license agreement. But this is an indie developer studio that did this, and it's something that you would expect from EA. It's something that you would expect from Ubisoft. It's just, it's asinine. It's greed, is what it is. I have a feeling that they're going to be shutting it down, not soon, but look at it. They made millions of dollars, and it's just been dwindling. And instead of keeping the servers up, they're probably going to be like, meh, we made a shitload of money. Whereas, say they made a tenth of that, and they were happy. They made their money back and a little bit of some. I don't think it would be like this. But to have this crazy terms of service, or not, I keep calling it terms of service, end user license agreement. Um, and then basically tell everybody, hey, we're taking away your rights so that I feel like it's for them to keep money. You know, it's got to be about the money, because right here we love the modding community. We love the modding community so much that we can have full control over your mods, and you're going to give us unrestricted access, and we don't have to give you props. Isn't that fun? And then when we do shut it down, it's gone forever, because we don't have to. We reserve the right to not make it playable offline. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's messed up. And and if something terrible happens, because we do take a mod that has some sort of virus or something in it, and it happens to spread around all the computers, you can't make a claim. We're not responsible. That's you. That's you. And up here, where do they say it? Um, through, whether done intentionally or through your negligence. Your negligence. Yeah. Fun. So this game, I am happy I read the terms of service, because for them to introduce terms of service now, after they made millions, I'm talking millions of dollars, they even stated, like right here, as of June 16th, immediate success, and as by the 22nd, they sold over 1 million copies. And actually, how many copies of Peak have been sold? 10 million copies. So if it costs $1, that's $10 million. All right, obviously there's taxes and all that other stuff. But 10 million copies times set $8, $80 million. You're telling me you think these graphics and this type of game is going to take a lot of server space? But they put it right in there. Hey, we might need to shut down the game. It costs money to run this game. Worst case scenario. They don't even give you a guarantee that they would make it, hey, look, we'll make it peer-to-peer. Why they didn't make it peer-to-peer in the first place is beyond me. But this is definitely something that I'm not touching it. I'm done. I am not bound by these terms of service because I did not agree to them. And whether or not you want to be bound by this, that's up to you. And if you already have, what if I don't agree with Peak's new end user license agreement? If you disagree, you can't install by clicking I agree. Just take it or leave it. Yep. Unbelievable. However, had I known that in the beginning that they were going to put out an end user license agreement like this, I wouldn't have bought it in the first place. So, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I will not be fooled again. I will never be buying anything from Landfall again. I don't even care if it's 20 cents. I will not buy anything from those guys ever again. That's just, it's dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Well, hopefully this gave you some information. Definitely read more into it because there's little tidbits that basically just you read it and you say, "What? No, that's bullcrap. I'm not doing that." But yep, well, hopefully this clarified some things, and now it's up to you whether or not you want to abide by that. So, take care.